Please go ahead, ma'am. We are live now.
May I request Mr. Mohit Jain, Chairman, National Council on Textiles and Technical Textiles, to please do the honors and salutation. Mohit sir? Mohit sir, you are muted.
Thank you, Kavita. Good morning.
Good morning.
It is truly a privilege for me to welcome our distinguished guest this morning to the National Handloom Week. We are extremely delighted to have with us Sri Upendra Prasad Singh, Secretary Textiles, Government of India, Sri Rajan Prakash Thakur, Principal Secretary Industries, Government of Jammu and Kashmir, Ms. Esther, Secretary, Government of Mizoram. Your presence at this occasion reaffirms Government of India and state government's commitment towards promotion of handlooms, our national heritage and pride. We are also joined by eminent industry members, Ms. Paridhi Sharma, founder Sankalp for Khadi, Mr. Pramod Kumar Chaudhary, Pratibha Fabrics, Mr. Nala Muthu, Director Khadi Village and Industries. We welcome you to this meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, India has a rich heritage of handloom weaving since time immemorial, with the earliest evidence going back to the Indus Valley civilization. With the advent of the Industrial Revolution, the British, under protectionist policy, restricted import of hand-woven cloth from India to Britain, while dumping their machine-made clothes in India. Towards the end of the 19th century, the cotton textile sector suffered from a range of challenges, from economic recessions to natural calamities. Swadeshi movement was launched on 7th August 1905, had encouraged indigenous industries and in particular handloom weavers. The Indian textile industry has strengths across the entire value chain, from fiber, yarn, fabric, and apparel. In 2015, the Government of India decided to designate 7th August as the National Handloom Day. We from ASSOCHAM shall continue to support ministry initiatives to help promote handloom's heritage amongst our direct and indirect membership base of 4.5 lakh members through our 400 associations, federations, and regional chambers spread across the length and breadth of the country. The Associated Chamber of Commerce and Industry of India, ASSOCHAM, is the country's oldest and most agile apex chamber, always evolving with the times ever since it was set up in 1920. The ASSOCHAM was created to support nation building, and this spirit continues to drive our initiatives to date. As India's oldest and respectable chamber, ASSOCHAM has a rich legacy, which, coupled with our focus towards socio-economic growth, will help us play a crucial role in India's next phase of growth. ASSOCHAM serves as a key conduit between the industry and the government to support the next phase of growth and foster the development of a new India. With these words, I would like to request Vineet Agarwal, our president for ASSOCHAM, to deliver the introductory remarks.
Thank you, Mohit. Shri Upendra Prasad Singh ji, Secretary Textiles, Shri Rajan Prakash Thakur ji, Principal Secretary, Government of J&K, Ms. Esther, Secretary, Government of Mizoram, Shri Pramod Kumar Chaudhary, Shri Nala Muthu ji, Mohit, and Deepak Sood, and Mr. of course, Kailash Lalpuria ji. Thank you so much for joining us today at this very important occasion of the National Handloom Week. And it is a great period right now to see that how handloom can really take up the initiatives of the government, specifically when it comes to the aspects of developing employment and the textile sector. Handloom manifests in India's cultural and social diversity and the skill of weavers and artisans. Each part of India has its own weaving tradition, and each handloom narrates a story of the unique culture and heritage where it comes from. Indian handloom designs and weaves have been famous all over the world, and it is important to ensure sustenance of our cultural heritage. A very important aspect of this is that handloom is a true reflection of Indian diversity and are ambassadors in the global economy. It emphasizes our soft power as a nation. Though we are the second largest producer and the sixth largest exporter of textile and apparel in the world, relevance of and potential of the textile industry is undeniable. The impact on GDP, the deep connect with agriculture, the impact to lives, and the impact to the environment. Besides, the sector's high employment of a female workforce creates its own dimension for women empowerment and development. With such a large and important workforce engaged in crucial aspect of the Indian economy, the government has taken many steps to ensure that the sector gets recognized and is able to ensure a long-term sustainable development. The development of the Indian handloom brand is an important aspect of these initiatives and has created a huge awareness in Indian handloom products, not just in India, but in the rest of the world. As the industry moves to the next stage of evolution, several areas do need to be thought about and attention needs to be given. The enhancement of market access via government or e-commerce or other platforms so that the ease of selling increases, and besides it also ensures fair pricing as well as price discovery. Diversification of product lines is also very essential, from high fashion to daily use, from personal clothing to commercial applications will help build a deeper market for handloom products. Even though handloom by nature uses specific tools, the need to look at better technology which preserves tradition but enhances comfort and safety for worker health while ensuring and improving quality is also very essential. Last but not the least, incentives to build a strong apprentice program on the lines of what we used to have, the Guru Shishya Parampara, the tradition, to ensure that there is a continuity of trade and legacy. As Mohit just mentioned, ASSOCHAM is committed in aligning with the government's goal in ensuring that this sector, like the textile sector, gets its boost through all the initiatives that we can take together. Thank you so much for your presence today, and we look forward to hearing from our esteemed speakers.
Now, thank you.
Mohit, yes, sir.
Thank
Please
you,
go ahead.
Mohit. Thank you, Vinitji, for a wonderful insight on the handloom side with a message of the Guru Shiksha, initiative, which will help handloom to grow. Now, I take this opportunity to invite Ms. Paridhi Sharma, the founder of, president of Mission Sankalp of Khadi, to guide us on how Indian handloom can offtake further and enhance its reach.
I'm sorry, sir. I shared this message upfront. Ms. Paridhi Sharma's father had a cardiac arrest this morning and he's no more. So unfortunately,
sorry to hear.
we regret her presence. She will not be able to join. We'd like to call another speaker, please.
We are very sorry to hear that. Our condolences to Ms. Paridhi Sharma and her family. Now, I take this opportunity to invite Shri Pramod Kumar Chaudhary, Managing Director of Pratibha Fabrics Limited, how revamping of fashion trends can help handloom sector. Mr. Pramod Kumar Chaudhary, I request you to guide us on this, please. You are on mute, sir.
Sir, you are on mute.
Thank you very much to ASSOCHAM to invite me to be present on such a interactive session, especially on handloom. मैं जो particularly textile industry को represent करता हूँ, जिसमें textile की सभी sectors involved हैं, like cotton, synthetic, denim, linen. मेरा जो सूरत सेंटर है, पे हमारी इंडस्ट्रीज हैं, वो पर्टिकुलरली प्रमोट कर रही हैं पावर लूम्स को, वेरी ऑटोमेशन को, हाई एंड प्रोडक्ट्स को, जिसमें हैंडलूम का कोई स्थान नहीं है. लेकिन मेरे सेंटीमेंट्स जो हैं मैं समझता हूँ कि हैंडलूम एक बहुत बड़ा सेक्टर है हमारे इंडस्ट्रीज के लिए, हमारी कंट्री के लिए। जैसे हमारे हर अलग अलग स्टेट के फोक डांस हैं, उनकी अपनी कल्चर है, वैसे ही हर स्टेट का हैंडलूम सेक्टर उस स्टेट की कल्चर को रिप्रेजेंट करता है। पहले हमारी हैंडलूम्स जो थी एक हमारी बेसिक इंडस्ट्रीज थी, और वो प्राय सभी को कपड़े प्रोवाइड करती थी हमारी आम पब्लिक को। धीरे धीरे जब से इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन हुआ है, हाईली कम्पिटिटिव प्रोडक्ट्स बनने लगे हैं, जिसमें धीरे धीरे हैंडलूम का प्रचलन कम होता गया, और धीरे धीरे एक प्रकार से ये विलुप्त जैसा हो गया था कि हम compete नहीं कर पा रहे थे। जो अभी जो मशीनरी, जो लेटेस्ट मशीनरी जो आई इंडस्ट्रीज के अंदर में, प्रोडक्ट हाई प्रोडक्टिविटी की इंडस्ट्रीज की तरफ हम जाने लगे, तो ये सेक्टर हमारा पिछड़ने लगा। धीरे धीरे ये एक हमारे पॉलिटिशियंस का पहनावा हो गया, बस उसी तरीके से जाना जाता था कि खादी उद्योग माने ये पॉलिटिशियंस की ड्रेसेज हैं, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए। आज जैसे मेरे को ये टॉपिक दिया गया कि रिवैम्पिंग द फैशन ट्रेंड्स इन हैंडलूम्स, काफ़ी अगर जब तक हम समय के साथ इस चीज़ को लेके नहीं चलेंगे, फैशन के साथ में हम इसको नहीं जोड़ेंगे, हम यंगस्टर्स के साथ में इसको नहीं जोड़ेंगे, तो ये इंडस्ट्रीज उतनी आगे नहीं बढ़ पाएगी जितना हम सोचते हैं। मैं देखता हूँ कि आज के दिन में जो यंगस्टर्स हैं वो एक नया ट्रेंड अभी अपनाने जा रहे हैं, जिसके पीछे, गारमेंट्स के पीछे, ब्रांड्स के पीछे कोई स्टोरी लाइन है। हम लोग इसको उस ट्रेंड के साथ में जोड़ें, सस्टेनेबिलिटी के साथ में जोड़ें, और यंगस्टर्स के जो गारमेंट्स हैं उसके साथ में इस इंडस्ट्रीज को, हम हैंडलूम्स को जोड़ें। काफ़ी ज़्यादा स्कोप है, क्योंकि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा कंज्यूमर अब हमारे यंगस्टर्स हैं। हमें उनकी रिक्वायरमेंट को ध्यान में रखते हुए हम उसको फैशनेबल इंडस्ट्री के रूप में आगे लेके जाएं। हम अच्छे डिजाइनर्स जो ब्रांड्स हैं उनके साथ में हैंडलूम के अंदर में टाई अप करें, क्योंकि हमारे जो व्यूवर्स हैं, छोटे छोटे लोग गांव में जुड़े हुए हैं, वो वहां तक पहुंच नहीं पा रहे हैं। तो गवर्नमेंट को, जो हमारी हैंडलूम बोर्ड है, उसको एक दूसरी जो हमारी ट्रेड एसोसिएशन लाइक एसोचैम, इनको हमें अगर प्रमोट करना चाहते हैं तो इस इंडस्ट्री को हमें बड़े बड़े जो डिजाइनर्स हैं, राघवेंद्र राठौड़ है, रितु कुमार है, मनीष मल्होत्रा है, जिसको लोग, हमारे यंगस्टर्स जो उनकी तरफ देखते हैं फैशन के लिए, और इंटरनेशनल ब्रांड्स फैशन क्रिएटर्स के साथ में हमें जोड़े। उसमें हमारे NIFT भी एक अच्छा इंपॉर्टेंट रोल निभा सकती है, कि हम जो प्रेजेंट ट्रेंड्स जो यंगस्टर्स ले रहे हैं उसके साथ में उसको हम लिंकअप करें, डिफरेंट डिफरेंट प्रोडक्ट्स हम बनाएं, और एक स्टोरी हम सेट करें कि ये हमारी सस्टेनेबिलिटी है, ये हमारे ऑर्गेनिक फैब्रिक है, इसमें हमने ऑर्गेनिक डाइज यूज की है, जो पैटर्न्स हैं वो हम आज की रिक्वायरमेंट के हिसाब से उसके पैटर्न डिजाइन करते हैं। अदरवाइज जैसे हम लोग इसमें हैंडलूम माने हैंडलूम साड़ीज, तो आजकल साड़ीज उतना फैशन में नहीं है, ट्रेंड में नहीं है, तो हमें उसके अलावा भी सोचना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि हमारे जो व्यूवर्स हैं उनको जब तक अच्छी पैसा नहीं मिलेगा, उनको उनकी अच्छी कमाई नहीं होगी, तो वो उसकी तरफ जुड़ेंगे नहीं, वो छोड़ते चले जा रहे हैं, क्योंकि उतना प्रोडक्टिविटी इसकी हैंडलूम की कम है, मार्केटेबिलिटी पुअर है खाली, और सेकेंडली जो हमें इनकी प्रोडक्शन के सामने उनकी मेहनताना मिलना चाहिए वो हम नहीं दे पा रहे। ये तभी होगा जब हम उसको एक फैशनेबल फैब्रिक के रूप में, गारमेंट के रूप में कन्वर्ट करेंगे। उसके लिए हमें सबसे ज़्यादा मेहनत करनी चाहिए। सबसे खासियत यह है कि हमारे हर प्रदेश के अंदर में अलग अलग पैटर्न की हैंडलूम्स हैं, जिसमें अलग अलग फैब्रिक्स हम बना सकते हैं। उड़ीसा में अलग पैटर्न है, गुजरात में जैसे पटोला पैटर्न है, बंगाल के अंदर में जैसे तांत के फैब्रिक्स हैं, मिजोरम नॉर्थ ईस्ट में एक अलग पैटर्न्स हैं। उन सब पैटर्न्स, उन सब फैब्रिक्स को हम फैशन के अंदर में कन्वर्ट करें, और हम हमारे यंगस्टर्स हैं, आम पब्लिक के लिए उनके डिजाइन्स के मुताबिक, उनके पहनावे के मुताबिक हम उसको यूज करें तो एक काफ़ी बड़ा मार्केट हम क्रिएट कर सकते हैं। हमें फाइबर टू फैशन, हमें उसको एक एज ए कंप्लीट सेक्टर के रूप में लेना होगा कि हमें कैसे फाइबर्स इसमें यूज करने हैं। हैंडलूम्स के अंदर में हम एनी काइंड ऑफ फाइबर्स यूज कर सकते हैं। काफ़ी अलग अलग फाइबर्स हैं आज के दिन, जैसे लिनन का काफ़ी प्रचलन है, काफ़ी लोग लिनन की तरफ झुकाव करते हैं। तो हम हैंडलूम के अंदर में केवल कॉटन खादी की बजाय हम लिनन को भी मिक्स कर सकते हैं। हेम्प यान अभी आजकल डिमांड में है, हम उसको भी यूज कर सकते हैं। बनाना अभी यान स्टार्ट हुआ है बनना, वो हम उसके अंदर में यूज कर सकते हैं। अभी ऑस्ट्रेलिया से वेगन यान बनना शुरू हुआ है, जो आर्ट सिल्क की वेगन यान उन्होंने बनाना शुरू किया है। तो ऐसे अलग अलग यान को अलग अलग टेक्निक से हम हैंडलूम के सेक्टर के अंदर में इंट्रोड्यूस करें, ये तभी हम इसके ऊपर में आगे बढ़ सकते हैं। काफ़ी अच्छा स्कोप है क्योंकि हम लोग फैशन इंडस्ट्रीज में भी हैं, ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ फैब्रिक हम लोग यहाँ पे बनाते हैं। तो हमें पता है कि लोगों का झुकाव किसकी तरफ जा रहा है। अभी हम केवल एक एथनिक वियर्स के साथ में इसको जोड़ते हैं हैंडलूम्स को, लेकिन हमें उससे बाहर आना होगा। उसके लिए हमें इनिशियल स्टेज के ऊपर में अच्छे अच्छे डिजाइनर्स के साथ में मिलना होगा। हमें उनको फैब्रिक्स देकर उनसे हमें गारमेंट्स बनवाने हैं, उसकी पब्लिसिटी करनी है ताकि लोगों के अंदर में उसकी अवेयरनेस आए। लोग पहनना चाहते हैं। अभी सस्टेनेबल फैब्रिक्स के बारे में काफ़ी अच्छा, उसके रेट्स भी काफ़ी अच्छे मिल रहे हैं लोगों के अंदर। इंटरनेशनल मार्केट के अंदर में उसका काफ़ी क्रेज है। ऑर्गेनिक कॉटन के अंदर, ऑर्गेनिक फैब्रिक्स के ऊपर में भी काफ़ी क्रेज है। तो जो हैंडलूम इंडस्ट्री इसको बहुत इजीली अडॉप्ट कर सकती है क्योंकि इनकी जो क्वांटिटी है वो छोटी छोटी क्वांटिटी है, वो इजीली हम उसको मेंटेन कर सकते हैं, प्रोड्यूस कर सकते हैं फैब्रिक को। तो मैं ये चाहूँगा कि अगर हम ऐसा करते हैं तो हमारा काफ़ी पर्पज हमारे सोल्व होते हैं। एक तो हमारी ओल्ड हमारी हेरिटेज वैल्यू है, हमारी कल्चरल वैल्यूज है, हमारे जो ग्रामीण गांव में लोग लगे हुए हैं हैंडलूम्स को जो छोड़ चुके हैं, वापस इस इंडस्ट्रीज के अंदर में आएंगे। उसके साथ साथ हमारा आत्मनिर्भर भारत जो मिशन है, क्योंकि लोग जो है गांव को नौकरी गांव में उनको मिलती नहीं है, शहरों के ऊपर में बर्डन बनते जा रहे हैं, वो गांव में रह जाएंगे। और वहाँ पे अगर उनको आय का साधन उनका इस हैंडलूम के मदद मिलता है उनको, तो काफ़ी अर्न कर सकते हैं और वो वहीं पे भी रह सकते हैं और अपनी इस परंपरा को आगे बढ़ाने की कोशिश कर सकते हैं। जिस प्रकार फैशनेबल गारमेंट्स है, उसी प्रकार अभी जो होम फर्निशिंग है उसके अंदर में भी हम इसको प्रमोट कर सकते हैं। वहाँ पे भी काफ़ी डिमांड्स है फैब्रिक्स की, जो कि इस प्रकार हैंडलूम से फैब्रिक बना हुआ है। लेकिन हमें इसमें सोच में बदलाव लाना पड़ेगा। हमें एक प्रकार से जो नॉर्मल इंडस्ट्री, अभी जो हमारी इंडस्ट्रीज है, सिंथेटिक इंडस्ट्री है या कॉटन इंडस्ट्री है, जो फैशन इंडस्ट्रीज के अंदर में काफ़ी एक्टिव है, जो उसके ऊपर में जो फैशन के ऊपर में वर्क कर रहे हैं हम लोग, वैसा ही वर्क हम हैंडलूम्स फैब्रिक के ऊपर करें और उसको प्रमोट करें। तो मैं ये मानता हूँ कि ये काफ़ी अच्छा एक इनकम का साधन बन सकता है और काफ़ी अच्छा हम इसमें एक्सपोर्ट भी कर सकते हैं। और एक काफ़ी बड़ा सेक्टर के रूप में हैंडलूम को जो एक लघु उद्योग या माइक्रो इंडस्ट्रीज के रूप में बनाया हुआ है, उसको हम काफ़ी अच्छे एक सेक्टर के रूप में डेवलप कर सकते हैं। प्लस पॉइंट क्या है कि इसमें हिंदुस्तान की निश है, हिंदुस्तान इसमें काफ़ी आगे है। एक हिंदुस्तान के लिए अच्छा चांस है, हमारे ग्रामीण भाइयों के लिए, हमारे ग्रामीण जुलाहों के लिए, कि हम इसको आगे बढ़ाएं। इसमें एसोचैम जो है काफ़ी इम्पोर्टेंट रोल प्ले कर सकता है। हमारे अप्रैल इंडस्ट्री जो प्रमोशन काउंसिल है वो भी काफ़ी अच्छा रोल प्ले कर सकती है। अभी हम इसको जो छोटे सेक्टर समझ के इसको एक ट्रीट करते हैं, इसका विजन, ब्रॉड विजन रखकर हम इसको आगे बढ़ा सकते हैं। थैंक यू, थैंक यू।
बहुत बहुत
धन्यवाद
प्रमोद जी, आपने काफी अच्छे सुझाव दिए इस परंपरा को बनाए रखने के लिए। एक अच्छा विजन दिया कि भाई इसको डिजाइनर के साथ जोड़ के ग्रामीण भाइयों को ज्यादा से ज्यादा रियलाइजेशन दिलाया जाए और इसको प्रमोट किया जाए एक मेन स्ट्रीम इंडस्ट्री करके ताकि हमारी परंपरा जो हमने जिससे सीखा है वो हमारी आगे भी बढ़े और ये एक इम्पोर्टेंट रोल प्ले कर सकती है आगे आने वाले कल में, क्योंकि अगर यंग जनरेशन को जोड़ा जाए इससे तो काफी हमें इसमें फायदा मिल सकता है। और एसोचैम की जो भूमिका है, वो जो आपका सुझाव है, वो हम लोग उस पे जरूर उस पे कोशिश करेंगे कि भाई हम उसको कैसे बढ़ावा दें। अब मैं चाहूंगा कि आई विल रिक्वेस्ट श्री पी नलामुथु, डायरेक्टर खादी एंड विलेज इंडस्ट्रीज, to give us insight into how khadi has become our national pride and a Indian heritage as well, and how that can be promoted further. Sri Nalamuthu ji, please.
So you are on mute, sir.
Sri Nalamuthu ji, please.
Sir, are you hearing?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Sir, good morning to all dignitaries. And first of all, sir, I must extend my heartiest thanks to ASSOCHAM for involving the KVC for celebrating the National Handloom Day. So today my topics are very ethnic one. So I would like to say about Khadi, sir. Sir, everybody, I mean, all are well aware that Khadi is the symbol of liberty, which is originated during the Swadeshi movement led by Mahatma Gandhi, the father of a nation. Strongly advocated the spirit of the Khadi, that the fellow feeling with every human being on earth. In a sense, it is not only the soldiers, the poor, but the Khadi spirit that reflects endless patience, faith, and empathy with every human being on earth. In fact, sir, Khadi started its journey with a small group of spinners in those days. Then subsequently, sir, formed as All India Spinner Association under the leadership of our Mahatma Gandhi, sir. And thereafter, sir, its activities was transferred to All India Khadi and Village Industries Board, and then entrusted to Khadi and Village Industries Commission in 1956 by acting under the Parliament Act. So now the KVC is functioning under the control of Minister of MSME, Government of India. Its KVC's social objective is for providing employment to the rural poor, and wider objective is creating a self-reliance amongst the people and building of a strong rural community spirit. In fact, sir, you might be aware that the difference of the Khadi and the general textile is, sir, in fact, in milk sector, sir, the English count system is being adopted, and whereas for Khadi sector, sir, metric count system is being adopted. The difference of these two count systems, sir, twist direction is different. Because in milk sector, sir, jet twist, and Khadi sector, it is a S twist. In that way, sir, broadly, the KVC is differentiating between milk sector, general textile and Khadi textile. Apart from these count systems or technical parameters, the definition of the Khadi is, sir, Khadi is a cloth woven on handlooms with a hand-spun yarn by using natural fibers such as cotton, silk, woolen, and is also a patent product of the country. So, which is the reason, sir? Khadi has got its own, unique nature amongst the general textiles. Then, sir, swooping the traditional fabric to the higher level echelons, the fabric has elevated from sought after genre to a more elite class. So these are the general, background of the Khadi, Khadi background, sir. Now I am coming to the point of significance of the Khadi industry. The role of the non-farm sector is very crucial in generating rural employment and elevating poverty in view of the fact that the agriculture sector is not far to saturation, and therefore only non-farm sector can absorb rural masses for just literates and illiterates. The Khadi activity is one of the important non-farm sector recognized since long, as it provides additional income to the agricultural labor as an alternative to a non-agricultural season. So, which means, sir, Khadi is completely taking care of these rural artisans as an alternate income, sir, during the non-agricultural season. So that way, sir, I could simply say that the Khadi is, extending an opportunity to the rural poor for having additional income for themselves. And sir, Khadi industry as a rural non-farm activities in the unorganized sector operated through Khadi institutions, NGOs affiliated to KVC and Khadi boards. In fact, sir, KVC being a government department is not directly, undertaking the Khadi production and sales activities, but sir, the complete Khadi program is being carried out through registered NGOs. We used to call as Khadi institutions, which are affiliated to KVC. Parallelly, sir, at the state level, state government is also implementing the Khadi program through their state Khadi and Village Industries Board, headed by IAS officer as chief executive officers. Now, presently, sir, about 2,800 Khadi institutions are functioning across the country with a production turnover of 2,336 crore and a sales turnover of 4,211 crore by providing employment to 5 lakh artisans. Here, sir, I would like to pertinent to mention here that so our turnover might be very less when compared with the mill sector or handloom sector. But sir, our KVC main focus is to provide employment, to create the employment opportunity in the rural areas, sir. Otherwise, sir, in short, I could say that Khadi is a fabric producing by mass, not a mass production. In short, I could say, sir. Taken to cognizance, Khadi activity started with traditional charka, and thereafter, sir, under the technology upgradation, introduced four spindle amber charka in the year 1969, and then introduced, sir, metal charka in the name of new model charkas having 6 spindle, 8 spindle, 12 spindle, on par with the ring spinning frame, because one ring spinning frame contains minimum 424 spindles, sir. But whereas our new model charkas having 10 spindle charkas designed for operating by complete manual, sir. Then, sir, taken to cognizance of the design requirement for the Khadi fabric to attract the young generation. Just now our Chaudhary Sahab has very rightly pointed out that, sir, even Khadi sector is also facing a tremendous problem to attract the younger generation to use the Khadi fabric because of so many reasons. That is the reason Chaudhary sir has, very rightly pointed out that, sir, with a view to attract the younger generation, some, elite, celebrities should come forward for giving publicity for handloom as well as Khadi, so that, sir, younger generation can be attracted, strongly. And sir, taken into cognizance of the design requirement for the khadi fabric to attract the younger generation, sir. Recently, just last year, sir, the ministry has sanctioned an amount of rupees 20 crores for upgrading the design concept, sir, for which the design house is sanctioned in the name of Center of Excellency for Khadi has been established in each zone with the support of NIPT. Now, sir, last year, sir, NIPT has come forward for extending the handholding support to the Khadi sector for introducing the new designs, for which, sir, the task has been assigned to 5 NIPTs. The hub center is at Delhi, and each zone one NIPT. For example, sir, Ahmedabad, Kolkata, Shillong, then Bangalore. The hub center is Delhi. Now, sir, they are conducting diagnostic study for introducing the new designs for the Khadi sector. Then, sir, since Khadi, second part, sir, since Khadi is having its own unique nature, now recently, sir, the need become, utmost, necessary for maintaining the genuineness of the Khadi or maintaining the quality of the Khadi, sir. The task has been entrusted to Textile Committee as a accredited agency for conducting inspection, for drawing the samples, thereby testing the samples for ascertaining the genuineness of the Khadi or quality of the Khadi. So, since Khadi program is artisans oriented, the various incentive and welfare schemes for the artisans are being implemented by KVC for uplifting the artisans in the rural area. So, considering the Khadi fabric as a heritage product, Government of India has reserved the Khadi bunting cloth for manifesting the national flag by allocating BIS, means ISI number 1. Sir, most of the public are not aware of that. Our national flag should be manufactured or produced out of only the Khadi fabric. That too, sir, specification has been earmarked by the Bureau of Indian Standard by allotting IS number 1. In addition to that, sir, there are 13 specific items have been reserved for the Railway Department, particularly for, sir, supply of green flag, supply of red flag, supply of dungri blue cloth for usage of the uniform for the trackman or gangman, and pagri cloth, seating cloth, even for railway bedsheet and other things. There are many more Khadi fabrics having a heritage nature, in which Andhra Fine Khadi, which is producing at Ponduru near Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. The Andhra Fine Khadi is making out of hill cotton and Gollaporlu cotton, which are growing naturally in the hilly area and pre-processed completely by manual for separation of the seed from kapas and opening of the cotton by beating with a stick, and also making slaver form. Then hand spinning and hand oven process is taking place. Thus, the whole process of the fine Khadi is 100% manual. So it is pertinent to mention here that the Gollaporlu cotton having a natural color of grey. So why I am quoting this Andhra Fine Khadi, sir, which is in spite of technological upgradation, in spite of high-tech industries coming up in a mushroom way, still that heritage handcrafted fabric is being produced under the Khadi sector at Ponduru Khadi, sir. In addition to that, sir, Bengal muslin. So earlier we used to termed as Dhaka muslin. Now that has been started for producing in the Bengal. The Bengal fabric, Bengal muslin fabric is producing out of 300 to 500 metric count, which cannot be produced by any textile machine. This is the uniqueness or heritage of the Khadi sector, sir. Because 500 metric count means, sir, in English count, it may come about 1.6 means 300 count. In the mill sector, sir, more than 100 or 120 combed yarn cannot be manufactured. But whereas in the Khadi sector, sir, we are producing 300 to 500 metric count of yarn, through which we are manufacturing the Bengal muslin fabric having heavy demand in the market. So like that, sir, Tassar silk fabric is producing by using wild cocoon with thigh spinning. Here also, sir, no equipment is being used. It's a complete manual process, thigh spinning. Of course, sir, this thigh spinning system in the present scenario is hectic, no doubt. Health hazard, there are so many other problems exist in which, but still that traditional art is being carried out or continuing by the rural masses even now. So in that way, sir, that Tassar silk is produced out of the wild cocoon with the thigh spinning and hand weaving. Even that natural, even the Tassar fabric also, sir, having natural cream color, for which there is no need of any separate dyeing or bleaching or any other wet processing requirement. So another one fabrics are, this is also unique fabric. Katia and Matka fabrics are being produced out of the byproduct of silk cocoon waste through traditional charkha, by which making wealth out of waste. Sir, here, during the reeling process, whatever the end cocoon, it termed as a byproduct, which is waste thrown out to the street, which is being collected, which are being collected and is making as a yarn and producing as a matka fabric, which is a thick fabric, which gives ethnic look and elegant look. So, as already told, sir, khadi is a fabric produced by mass, not a mass production. The unique characters of the khadi fabric is, sir, cool in summer and warm in winter. So, which is the reason, sir, since 2014, our Honorable Prime Minister of India proposed that the khadi is now a symbol of heritage and pride. He appealed for the adoption and promotion of the khadi in his Mann Ki Baat, many times putting a famous punchline that from khadi for nation, khadi for fashion, and khadi for transformation. So these are all the, sir, heritage nature and uniqueness of the khadi. But as far as, sir, growth is concerned, I would like to say here, sir, under the able leadership of Honorable Chairman of KVC, Mr. Vinay Kumar Saxena, there is a significant growth in the production sir, from 2014 to 2019. In fact, sir, even we also faced a lot of problems for attaining this growth, for which we made several efforts by catch holding the PSUs, thereby introducing the coupon system. Then we requested the Air India to buy the khadi items, and then we requested the Defense Department to procure the khadi prime.
Sir, request you please conclude your session. Yeah.
Shall I cut short it?
Yes, sir, because other speakers are waiting.
Okay. Sir, here, even, sir, we are also facing a tremendous problem because of the COVID. The last year, sir, production has come down about 400 crores. Sales has come down about 700 crores. So with this, sir, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to ASSOCHAM for giving me an opportunity to speak in this occasion, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Nalamuthu, for providing us an insight on the khadi,
Sir.
which is really a heritage. And we are very proud to have khadi and village development. And you rightly said, as the Prime Minister has mentioned about, that khadi is the nation and khadi is fashion and khadi is for transformation.
Yes,
So
sir.
with this, wonderful message by the Prime Minister and the dedication which you are also pursuing in
Sir.
order to promote khadi,
Yes, sir.
as you rightly explained, that there are some wonderful fabrics like Tassar silk and Bengal muslin and all others. I think we all need to embrace this fashion and trend going forward and see that how we can explore more opportunities to promote khadi all
Yes,
around
sir.
our country and export as well.
Okay, sir.
Thank you very much. And now I take this opportunity to request Sri Ranjan Prakash Thakurji, IRTS, Principal Secretary, Department of Industries and Commerce, Government of Jammu and Kashmir, to provide us a message on the handloom side, on the local into global, and therefore I invite him to provide his views on this subject. Thank you.
Good morning to all of you. Thanks a lot for inviting me today. It's a pleasure to be here today at this day. In fact, I was hoping to have Secretary Textiles also, so because there's a lot of stake involved in JNK. I'll come to the point straight rather than just talking about the heritage factor of it, because I'm a history graduate, so I know what the heritage of Indian textile has been, and since millennia we have been able to excel ourselves in this part. The issue which I see, because I handle the textile sector and handicraft sector also, is that while the production process needs upgradation, even when we upgrade it, that's a recent experience, our marketed linkages are extremely poor. Let me give a specific example. When we do silk and do the handloom silk part of it, the printing is not of a contemporary style, which means people do not really appreciate those prints and buy it. This is my wife's reactions, and she's also joint secretary in the Government of India, so I can tell you that part firsthand, that we are unable to tap the market the way it should be. I was talking to handicraft people and handloom people yesterday in Jammu region, and today I'm in Srinagar. They do not know the market demand. They have no idea about the market patterns prevalent. In fact, I heard the previous speakers also. Younger people prefer a different fashion. We do not make enough of it. We keep making what we can in the same way all the time. This needs to change. This is where the government is failing. This is where the industry is failing. Most of our handloom weavers are in a remoter location or smaller cities. They don't live in cities. The education level is limited. They can't really get into that part. It is incumbent upon us to explain to them what is the best way ahead. While we are trying in Jammu and Kashmir, I feel the attempt is still feeble, requires a much larger effort to get into it, because if our products do not sell, any effort to just keep on upgrading the lifestyle by getting them better looms or getting education or some schemes is futile. I can rattle off number of schemes we have launched. In fact, recently we launched a Kar Khandara scheme where the essentially master apprentice takes on some trainees, and he on a certain fee per training trains them for a better art. So the art doesn't die out with the master artisan. So that continues. At the same time, we got a scholarship scheme, we have one-time stipend scheme, insurance, all those things keep following a health schemes. But I'm fearful that these are fairly short-term subsidy model which cannot sustain itself. We will have to get into market part. In JNK, we are trying that part while we have now put up major showrooms across, but the products still do not reflect what the market really needs. Our online presence is of course there, but as you can guess, the offtake is not up to the mark. So I fear while we can address other answers, the market needs to be demanding products, or we should be feeding the way it demands the products. That I think is a major part. On our part, if you can appreciate something, the GI tagging indicates, of course, the geographical identity of the place. But as a consumer, how do I buy a Pashmina or a Kani or a Jamawar salt? I do not know it. So while we have launched these authentic Pashmina labels and we do advertise substantially, still you have to punch in few numbers. Just as a strong initiative, and this is an example of what we should be doing. All our handmade products, be it handloom or handicrafts, are now going to carry a QR code, which if you scan it out, it will confirm to you exactly which weaver made it in which village and who has authenticated the quality of it. So that is an assurance which flows back into it. But again, these are input part. The designs still remain very traditional by major changes. And this is not a governmental effort. We hope that some of the NGOs, the major industry bodies, connect the market to the weavers. We can only be intermediaries in this case. So I'll not repeat the point because I think that's pretty well made, because unless the market demands well enough, we will only be hand holding for the sake of it, and government will have a limitation beyond a point. So this thousands of years of art for which India can take genuine pride in its quality and its reach, and this was even in the Roman period the best of clothes, and we still have it, nobody can match us in that range, is facing a difficulty because we are not evolving enough. I'll request all stakeholders to look into the factor and think of how evolution can happen. You're shortly getting a parliamentary committee also. I'll raise the same point to it and of course show our case. But I feel we need to do a lot more to connect the market to the weavers. I'll end at that point. Thanks a lot for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Thakur Saab, for providing us an insight of how we should upgrade both operationally and on the marketing side and connecting the younger generation and also moving away from traditional approach to design approach so that we can market the products very well. So thank you very much for that suggestion. Now I take this opportunity to invite Ms. Esther, IRS Commissioner and Secretary, Department of Commerce and Industries, Government of Mizoram, for taking like how we should take initiatives to enhance the livelihoods of the weaver community and how we can further help them promote handloom. So Ms. Esther, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kailash Lalpuria, and ladies and gentlemen, participant speakers. Greetings to you from Mizoram. It's a privilege for me to be one of the speakers at this webinar. And as already mentioned, the topic given to me is initiatives to enhancing livelihood. Now, all of us are aware, as per the 4th All India Handloom Census 2019-20, there are 31.45 lakh households engaged in handloom activities. And as per the 3rd census, there were 27.83 lakh households. So there is an increase in the number of households who are involved in the handloom sector. And this is not a surprise because the handloom industry is the 2nd largest employment sector after agriculture in India, and almost 15% of cloth production in the country comes from the handloom industry. Hand-woven cloths or fabrics from India account for 95% of the world's production of hand-woven fabric. The handloom industry also has a flourishing export market. The export of handloom products in 2019 was at a value of $343.69 million. And while countries like the USA, UK, Japan, South Korea, the so-called developed countries, are only now rediscovering the potential of their craft sectors, India has always been a handloom and handicraft powerhouse. However, behind all these achievements and very impressive statistics that I have just mentioned, there are still issues of gender inequality, exploitation on the basis of caste, low wages like the piece rate system that is still being followed in many places, stiff and increased competition from bar rooms, unscrupulous middlemen or the so-called master weaver in some areas, poor access to welfare schemes for the weavers, and government initiatives not really reaching the weavers. So this, on the one hand, is the grim reality that is still prevalent among the handloom sectors. And this is so because, as all of us know, the handloom sector comprises of workers who are predominantly women from rural areas, from backward classes, and even today are still independent workers. And surprisingly, the majority of them are still earning less than 5,000 rupees per month. I know from the 3rd census to the 4th census, this figure has improved, but till date, there are still, it's still a fact that a majority of them are still earning less than 5,000 rupees per month. Now, to address all these issues, the Government of India has launched many schemes to address these challenges. But I think it appears there is a major gap between the initiatives of the government, whether it be the central government or the state government, and the implementation at the ground level. because even today we are still struggling with challenges such as supply of raw material at reasonable prices, marketing and publicity support, ensuring adequate and timely credit support, better education and health facilities. And although we may say that unless this happens, just giving them better education will not work. But the fact of the matter is we're talking in terms of handloom and livelihood issues. So this is still very relevant. And we need to have more common facility centers. We have them now, but we need more of them to provide technological support, training, dye house facilities, sharing of equipment, etc. And the cooperative system that has been set up in some places for weavers, we need to strengthen them and maybe have more of them, so that the bargaining power of the individual weavers gets strengthened. And I've noted that at the state government level, this is very true for my state, Mizoram, the budget allocation for the handloom sector is very nominal. So unless this is also taken seriously by state governments, we're still facing a lot of problems. And wages, employment, and livelihood issues have to be addressed. And recently, I have come across somewhere that Ministry of Textiles is thinking of starting craft village. I like this idea of the craft village because you are linking handloom hubs with tourism and converging the two. So this would definitely be a good idea to improve the lot of the weavers. And I would like to share a success story from Mizoram in terms of handloom and livelihood. Tensol Handloom Cluster. Tensol is a small town in Serchhip district, and it is a very small town as per the 2011 census. Total population of Tensol was only 7,259, and total number of households was just 1,440. And small town, few people, few households, but the literacy rate of Tensol is incredibly high, 98.15%. That is even higher than the state average. Now, among the Mizos, traditionally, it's always every household wove their own clothes, furnishings, everything. So this was also there in Tensol, but commercial activity started in 1982. And it started with just 8 looms. And this has increased in 2019 to 975 handloom units. And there are almost 2,000 weavers now. So, and in the first half of 2019, for which only the statistics are available, the small town of Tensol has earned a profit of a respectable amount of rupees 7.19 crores only in the 6 months. So they have done extremely well. Now, the reasons for success of Tensol town and the handloom industry there could be basically because the state government took many proactive measures. Handloom cluster was started by the state government there. Training facility was set up. And every year the trainees have increased. So we have more and more weavers engaged in Tensol because we are training more and more weavers every year. And the yarn supply scheme was also implemented. And the common facility center is also running very well. And in the year 2007, one cooperative society was started. And now in Tensol, we have 6 cooperative societies among the handloom weavers. Now, someone may say it's not working very well. I know it needs further strengthening, but as of now, it's doing pretty well. And health insurance schemes such as RSBY, HIS are all being implemented. So if Tensol could do it, I'm sure with a little push, we could sort of replicate this Tensol model in other areas also, where we find that we need to do a little bit more. So concluding, in conclusion, I would just like to raise 3 points. If we have stricter monitoring of government schemes to bridge the gaps in implementation, to ensure that the weaver, the individual weaver, ultimately gets the intended benefits, that would really go a long way. And plus, organizing individual weavers into cooperative societies to improve their bargaining power, plus so many other things, and have more handloom clusters. So with these words, I will end, and I'm happy to join in this webinar and looking forward to listening to the other speakers also. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Esther. A wonderful insight into Mizoram and the success of all the weavers. In fact, I would like to recommend that, we should all learn from the town Kenzo, which has done so well. And in fact, they should become ambassador all over India in order to guide on the training side, onto how they can utilize common facility, how they can get themselves literate and knowledgeable about the product range, how they have been managing, wonderfully their business and also helping others to grow. So it's a wonderful insight, and we feel very proud of it, Ms. Esther, for this. And the government initiative which you are suggesting are very much required into managing the supply chain, into providing competitive priced product range, giving them a platform, just like you mentioned about the heart. So earlier we used to have, even today, the handloom center. So all this, if are promoted in a proper way at the tourist spot, I think it will be a good promotion and a platform for the handloom industry to get an upliftment. Thank you very much again. And now I take this opportunity to invite our chief guest, Sri Upendra Prasad Singh, IAS, Secretary to Government of India, Ministry of Textiles, to provide us his views on how to take this handloom industry forward. Mr. Upendra Prasad Singh, please.
Thank you very much. Very good morning to all of you. And my sincere thanks to ASSOCHAM for organizing today's webinar. This year, we are not celebrating only a Handloom Day. We not only celebrated Handloom Day on 7th, but we are celebrating a Handloom Week actually. So I'm happy that some events beyond 7th are also being organized. We have events today, we have events tomorrow. So in true sense, we are organizing a Handloom Week this year. Everyone who has joined here already knows about handloom actually, that why everybody knows that the first time we celebrated Handloom Day on 7th August in 2015, Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced it, and the first Handloom Day was celebrated in 2015, and thereafter every year we are celebrating Handloom Day in a befitting manner. There is a reason also why 7th August was chosen, which everybody knows, that in way back in 1905, a Swadeshi movement started on 7th August actually. So this also has the spirit of Swadeshi movement, and that's why we started celebrating it. Now, already some of the speakers have spoken about handloom. There are two aspects of handloom in my opinion. One aspect is that of livelihood. The fact remains that more than 35 lakh weavers still depend on handloom actually, which is a fairly big number. So for about 35 lakh families, their livelihood is dependent upon handloom. But there is another aspect of handloom also, which is very important. We always take pride in our cultural heritage in whatever form may be. And handloom is something which represents our cultural heritage actually, such a what should I say, such a rich traditions which has been carried over time. So we also need to kind of preserve this heritage actually. We can't let this heritage die. So from both point of view, from livelihood point of view, as well as from the point of view of preserving our heritage, in my opinion, a handloom sector is very important. Now, of course, some of the aspects has already been spoken to. There are 3-4 things which I find that a handloom sector faces today. And of course, we have certain schemes but then someone was rightly pointing out to what extent those benefits reach the real weaver actually. The first one is you start with raw material. Now, in India, the textile sector, someone was talking about the importance of textile sector being a second largest employer and contributing to GDP and to the export, etc., etc. But right now, I won't be talking about textile sector as a whole. I would be talking only about the handloom sector, which is a part of, one can say, about the textile sector. But why I mentioned about textile sector, that in India, textile sector is not an integrated sector. It is a fragmented sector actually, in the sense that you have spinning elsewhere, you have weaving elsewhere, you have processing elsewhere, and you have garmenting and maybe apparel making elsewhere. Why this is important for handloom? For example, the maximum number of weavers in any state is in Assam. Not many people know that Assam would be having the largest number of weavers. Out of 35 lakh weavers, which the fourth handloom census says, I think 12-13 lakh weavers are only in Assam actually. But then Assam doesn't have a spinning mill, to my knowledge. So one is starts with the raw material. How does a weaver, which is a small weaver, I'm not talking of a big entrepreneur or something, but how does a small weaver gets his raw material, whether it's a hank yarn or whether it's some silk yarn or wool yarn or whatever it may be. So how does he get that maybe at a reasonable cost, good quality at his doorstep actually? Unfortunately, that continues to be a big problem, even though we have a scheme whereby we call a yarn supply scheme, which one of our corporation, National Handloom Development Corporation, runs the depots at different places actually, and it lifts the hank yarn from spinning mills and then basically makes available to the weavers through its depots actually. And not only we provide this at a mill gate price, but 10% subsidy is also provided. But question is that what percentage of the requirement of weaver actually the National Handloom Development Corporation is able to meet or reach? And then there are problems, because very recently I was interacting in 2 expos we had very recently at Delhi, and I took some time to interact with those weavers. Now some of the weavers will ask, why, what is the problem? So one problem could be that the distance, maybe a depot is located at a very long distance. But the other is that he says, no, from a local market I can get it on a credit, or I can get it a small quantity which need, and not the minimum quantity which NSDC would provide me actually. So there are still issues relating to, starting from the raw material. There are issues relating to infrastructure also. Whether a weaver have a proper work shed, whether he has a proper light, because the work is, the weaving is done even in the night, etc. So whether he or she has a light, whether you have some kind of a common facility center, or maybe a dyeing unit, or whatever it may be, whatever the requirements may be. So infrastructure and the loom. Unfortunately, what has happened that our looms in most parts of the country is not very productive looms. Their productivity is not very high actually. So we need, while it remains a handloom, but we need to basically improvise. For example, let's say a jacquard, which was an attachment which came for the handloom, is helping the weaver today to be more intricate kind of weaves actually. And then, of course, the 2 other aspects which has already been highlighted was, one was relating to design, product development, in the sense that yes, the traditional has its own values, but the fact remains that with the time, someone's taste changes, someone preferences changes. So how do you basically cater to the changing requirement? And maybe changing requirements, see, even habits or the kind of weave one wears in north would be different from south, and if you are doing it for an export, maybe a different kind of weave is required actually. So how, and I'm told that in whatever would come in the fashion 2 years from hence, you should know right now actually. And that is why it is very important, even though some of our schemes like handloom, this cluster development scheme has a provision for providing a designer basically to help the weavers in that cluster. But to what extent it is becoming, it's helping them is another matter. So that is another area. And last area, of course, which was, I think, Mr. Thakur also mentioned about the marketing. The fact remains that traditionally what has happened that our weavers have been by and large dependent only on the either a local market or the expos and the on exhibitions and other things which is being basically held from time to time at the state level, at the national level, at the district level. Now, that's one good source, but the problem has been that, let's say, take the case of last 1.5 years. We have not been able to hold many physical handloom even expos and exhibitions because of the COVID. But even otherwise also, so it is necessary, of course, a good number of weavers now are also on the various e-commerce platforms actually. About 1.25 lakh weavers are also on the GEM platform. We are also developing a platform only for the handloom weavers and the artisans actually, which is in the process of government in the process of developing that. Of course, there are even Amazon has a Karigar and some other well-known, but then well-known e-commerce sites also promote handloom. But then question comes that what is the real benefit which goes to the weaver actually? In fact, very recently I was interacting with these export promotion councils for handloom as well as the handicrafts. So very recently I had. So fine, maybe the exporter gets whether major benefit goes to exporter or whether major benefit goes to the weaver, that is also important. So we have all important right from raw material to the design to the providing infrastructure and finally to the market. So all these aspects we have to work. We have schemes, Government of India has schemes also. There are a number of states which have their own schemes also. So basically we need to see that how the benefit of these schemes, not only these schemes are scaled up actually. Whether we have been able, when we are talking of 35 lakh families, whether we have been able to reach how many of those families actually. And some of the interventions would need repeated interventions actually. Not that 5 years back, if I have supported someone with a design, maybe now it requires an upgradation actually. So on all this, I'm sure that the central government, state governments and bodies like ASSOCHAM would work. We need to take pride in the sense that that's why it's very important that what someone was mentioning that when Honorable Prime Minister when talked in the last Mann Ki Baat, last month Mann Ki Baat, when he talked about handloom. He also gave the example of Khadi, that how Khadi became a fashionable, or Khadi maybe a kind of a repositioned itself actually. So there is a need to reposition handloom also, and we must take pride. I have seen people taking pride actually. In fact, somewhere else when I was talking, I mentioned about two of my colleagues in IAS, when my cadre is Odisha actually, and I have seen one officer senior to me and one officer junior to me. I have never seen him coming to the office without wearing a shirt which is made from a handloom, and that handloom is also from a particular region. There is a region called Sambalpur, which is known for Sambalpuri saris as well as otherwise a shirt cloth for the shirting or for the suit making, etc. So, in fact, once Honorable Chief Minister, when I was sitting with him, he asked me that why my director wears those shirts, and I had to explain to him that, sir, he basically wears a pride of the place which he belongs to. So that's why Honorable Prime Minister gave this slogan that my handloom, my pride actually, and we should feel pride that we have such a rich tradition and such a rich heritage which we have inherited actually, and perhaps it's our bounden duty to take it forward. Our minister the other day, when he inaugurated the function on 7th from Shoka, he not only has said that right now our production is approximately 60,000 crores worth of handloom is produced in India actually. Now he has given us a task that next 3 years this should be more than double. 1,25,000 crore is what he said actually. And our export has stagnated at a level of about 2,500 over last 5-6 years. So in real dollar terms, it has basically come down. There also he has said that why 2,500, it should be taken to about 10,000 crore in next 3 years. And accordingly, he has also announced that day a committee which can prepare a roadmap over next 2 months or 3 months and to achieve this target over a period of 3 years. So friends, I won't take more time, but since this National Handloom Day and National Handloom Week is dedicated basically to the weavers of this country, which I have done in 1 or 2 other meetings also, I would stop my speech with few lines which my wife wrote for the weavers actually. Ladies are perhaps the best ambassadors as far as handloom is concerned, and naturally my wife is also one of them actually. So she read a few lines, wrote a few lines which is in Hindi. I'll just read out that for all those who are connected right now. करघा तकली और बिनाई, करघा तकली और बिनाई, है धागों में इतिहास रचाई, ख्वाबों को चूनर पहनाई, मानव को है लाज ओढ़ाई, तुम तानो बानो के जादूगर, धागों के मोह बाजीगर, आओ सब हम मिलकर करें नमन. So these are the 4 lines basically dedicated to the weavers of this country. Thank you very much. Thank you, ASSOCHAM, for organizing this, and thank you giving me an opportunity. It was pleasure listening to others also, and it was pleasure sharing some of my thoughts with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Upendraji, for a wonderful summarization. You did recognize, all the issues faced by our lovely weavers. And on this Handloom Day, I hope we all are motivated because they have been able to drive this message to you that what are the issues, and with your good offices definitely and with your commitment, we all will be helped to see how we can restore our pride and take this to the next level, both in exports and domestically. और ये जो अंत में आपने बात कही, धागों ने इतिहास बनाया और लाज रखी, वो भी एक बहुत ही उत्तम आपका संदेश है और ये हम सब लोगों को प्रेरित करेगा आगे चल के. और अब मैं एसोचैम की तरफ से I will read out the closing remarks, that it is indeed my proud privilege to conclude this session and propose the vote of thanks at this august house. I would like to concur with Sri Mohit Jain, Chairman ASSOCHAM, National Council on Textiles and Technical Textiles, in expressing our heartfelt gratitude to our guest. The presence of Secretary Textiles, Government of India, Principal Secretary Industries, Jammu and Kashmir, and Secretary Mizoram amidst us is an unparalleled indication to the commitment from center and state government for promotion of handloom in the country. The story of textile in India is one of the oldest in the world. The country's textiles have long been embedded in every aspect of its identity. Courtly splendor was proclaimed by magnificent fabrics, and global trade systems were formed on the export of Indian fabrics. And who can forget the sentiment that Khadi represents for us? Textile continues to define the socio-economic fabric of the country. Technical textile is also a fast-growing subsegment that finds its usage in an array of sectors. Since Secretary Sir is with us, I would like to take this opportunity to express our gratitude on behalf of ASSOCHAM's Textile and Technical Textile Councils for the ROSCTL benefit recently announced by the ministry. The industry lauds the government's initiative and much desired support, which will surely improve India's export in textile sector. There is a significant potential to fulfill a large demand gap, as the consumption of technical textile in India is still at 5 to 10% against 30 to 70% in some of the advanced countries. By transforming a COVID-19 crisis to an opportunity, our country has proven its ability to innovate and rise to the challenge with limited resources. It is now an opportune time for the government and industry to collaborate to boost technical textiles and handloom. I also thank industry panel for sharing your perspective. Mr. Pramod Kumar Chaudhary from Pratibha Fabrics, Mr. Nalamuthu, Director Khadi and Village Industries. I would like to concur with President ASSOCHAM and other speaker recommendations and reaffirm ASSOCHAM's resolve to protect handloom heritage and empower the handloom weavers and workers with greater opportunities. We shall certainly try to connect weavers and artisans with industry off-takers. On behalf of our members, sir, we assure the Government of India of our commitment to accomplish Ministry's objective towards handloom sector. Before I close this session, would also like to brief that besides the National Council on Textiles and Technical Textile, ASSOCHAM is closely working with also tribal weavers. The National Council on Tribal Affairs and Women Empowerment is executing projects and offering support on the ground to tribal weavers and artisans. It thus becomes so very important for ASSOCHAM to join hands with Ministry and promote national heritage and pride, our Indian handloom. I thank you all for being with us today. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much, sir. Thank
Thank
you. Sir, we will come back to you. Sir, Vineet, sir, you would like to say something else?
Thank you. I think a lot has been said. Thank you. Thank you for everyone
Thank
for
you so
joining.
much, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.